securing the funding for us so that we can expand our leadership academy. And we're now in Springfield this year, and next year we'll be in Boston. So did you want to say a few words on her behalf?
Yeah, totally. Thank you very much. I can hear me all right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to accept this award on behalf of Senator Warren, who sincerely regrets that she cannot be here today in person. She's proud to support MAWOCC's mission and the vital work of the Intergenerational Leadership Academy in creating new opportunities for women and girls of color. Thank you for this recognition and everything you do to move our Commonwealth forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to introduce Mayor Petty to come up and say a few words. So, Mayor Petty.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Pleasure to be here today. Just want to continue my saluting the entire MAWOCC membership and the board members. Brenda, good to see you, and all the board members who make this happen, and your central mission to eradicate racial inequities among women of color created by structural, institutional, interpersonal, and internalized racism. Your vision of a Commonwealth of authentic inclusion, where racism and sexism no longer dictate the outcomes of women of color, rings universally true for all the great communities of color and for society as a whole. This mission expands and keeps alive the civil rights crusades of the 60s, which was fought by women of color who played a significant role in the movement from grassroots organizing to major protests. Women of color, such as Ella Baker, Rosa Parks, Dorothy Height, and Fannie Lou Hamer, were for more than participants. They were leaders, strategists, and visionaries who laid the groundwork for social change. They were the pioneers who opened barriers. Since then, women of color have run for president, Shirley Chisholm, the first woman to run for president, and of course, Vice President Harris. We've come a long way, but the road is longer. Today we have labor leaders such as April Verrett, President of Service Employees International Union, Becky Pringle, President of the National Education Association, and Haiti Banty, President of the Culinary Workers Union. Black women of color have run some of the largest cities in America. We have Mayors Michelle Wu, Keisha Lance Bottoms of Atlanta, Muriel Bowser of Washington, D.C., London Breed of San Francisco, Sherelle Parker of Philadelphia, Karen Bass of Los Angeles, Carolyn Goodman of Las Vegas. Their contributions continue to stand as a testament to the power of resilience and determination in the face of systemic oppression. Their influence extends beyond the immediate actions. It joins the fight for racial justice with advocacy for women's rights. The impact of their work resonates in this room today, inspiring us to continue the pursuit of equity and justice. And as a woman today, we're honoring someone who I love very much, who made the city a better place, and Dr. Maddie Castile. I just want to thank you for everything you've done for the city of Worcester. I was going to say 10 years, but 36 years. Over 36 years working in the community, and always someone who led with compassion, equity, and justice. All those three principles she kept in mind all the time. And taking care of people. During COVID, looking at our substance use disorders we have here in the city, people who were affected by that, people with the opioids, involved in the lawsuits. The city was one of the first cities to sue the pharmaceutical companies on its own, which we did because Dr. Maddie Castile. We fight for the homeless, the unhoused, people with opioid addictions. And of course, there was the Mayor's Task Force, Mental Health Task Force, that she led for me for almost 10 years, really. We started with a small little group, about 6 people, and expanded to over 100. So, and that's because of her and her leadership. And also the Latino American Health Alliance, which she worked with the Reyes House and all the work we've done there, and bringing people to the community. So I'm just proud that you were part of Worcester. I know it goes by quick. You led it. And let me tell you something, working for Doctor, you drive me crazy sometimes. But because she's always up here making sure up this level to make sure that things get done. And sometimes you don't know where you're going to a meeting, to put it all together at the last minute and make it happen here in the city of Worcester. And I love you, Dr. Castillo. You made a difference. You should be proud of what you've done for the city of Worcester.
At this time, I'd like to introduce our board member, Evelyn Toney, who's Vice President also of Community Development and a community leader for Bay State Savings Bank. She's going to be introducing our keynote speaker. Board member Evelyn Toney.
Good afternoon, everybody. See, I remember this afternoon. I have the honor to introduce our keynote speaker today, and it's such an honor to meet you this morning, this afternoon. I'm going to read her bio, Dr. Sonia E. Denal. I'm looking at my readers. Dr. Denal is nationally recognized for education leader committed to implementing strategies that address inequities and bridge learning gaps in student achievement. With over 30 years of experience in education, she has excelled as a classroom teacher, a school leader, and administrator. Notably, she holds the distinction of being the first woman, and note this, first Black woman, to serve as the superintendent in the history of Springfield Public Schools. Dr. Denal, a proud native and lifelong resident of Springfield, Massachusetts, has deep roots in Springfield public school system. She gained her educational foundation at Memorial, Talmadge, Walner, Keeney schools, and is alumna of Classical High School. Dr. Denal embarked on her education career as a science teacher with SPS in 1991, starting at Forest Park Middle School. She advanced to become a guidance counselor, eventually assuming the role of guidance counselor department chair before transitioning to a district level position in 2007. In her administrative capacity, she held the positions as acting director of student support services and supervisor of student support services between 2007 and 2010. From 2010 to 2020, Dr. Denal advanced her career while refining her expertise as an administrator within the largest public school district in Connecticut and Harbor Public Schools. During this time, she holds positions as Assistant Director of Post-Secondary Education from 2010 to 2012, and Executive Director of College and Career Readiness from 2012 to 2020. During her tenure at HBS, she was responsible for strategic planning, coordination, and execution of professional development activities, events, and initiatives. She's demonstrated in-depth leadership and fostered collaborative relationships across various departments to ensure allocation of resources and provisions to support that align with the unique needs for each school. During her tenure at HPS, she achieved significant success, including historic increases in the SAT preparation rates district-wide, securing multi-million-dollar district funding, enhancing teacher resources and services, holding a reduction in special education referrals, and increasing in cohort graduation rates, post-secondary acceptance, and post-secondary persistence. Dr. Denal gained widespread recognition at Harvard due to her exceptional expertise in pedagogy, earning national acclaim, particularly from the Obama administration. Subsequently, she extended an invitation to serve as a panelist at the White House convening for college access. In 2020, Dr. Denal demonstrated resilience in addressing the educational challenges brought by the pandemic. She resumed her tenure at Springfield Public Schools, assuming her role for principal at High School of Commerce until 2023. Preceding her position as superintendent, she served as the Chief Family and Community Engagement. Dr. Donnell regarded her expertise in development educational policy and strategic initiatives aimed to enhancing academic performance and operational effectiveness. She served on several boards, including National Office of School Council Advocacy Advisory Board, the University of Hartford College of Education, Nursing and Health Professions Board of Visitors, and has recently been appointed by Governor Healy to the Board of Trustees of Holyoke Community College. Dr. Donnell has an array of accolades, professional certifications, academic achievements, including 4 post-secondary degrees. These include a Bachelor of Science in Biology and Psychology, a Master's of Arts in Psychology from Westfield State University, a Master's in Education from University of Massachusetts at Amherst, and a PhD in Education Leadership from Lesley University. I would like to welcome Dr. Sonia E. Donnell. Please.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So whenever I hear my bio, I'm reminded of that old Negro spiritual. And you know, as we are on the eve of none other than Black History Month, if you know it, sing along. We've come this far by faith. Lean on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. He never failed me yet. Oh, and turn around. We've come this far by faith.
Back to the bio. She can sing.
I will be referring to all distinguished guests, sponsors, friends, everyone who has gathered here today. It was early 1970-72. After making breakfast for my dad, my siblings, and me, my mother was going through the mail and she saw a letter from Springfield Public Schools. She'd been waiting for this important information for several days, so she eagerly opened the envelope. She read the letter and sat in disbelief. Her request had been denied yet again. I can only imagine the thoughts that raced through her mind because within minutes, she was dressed, told my father to watch us kids, and in a flash, she was out the door. Little did I know that she was heading to the school department to challenge the decision that they made concerning my school assignments. Because of the boundary system that was in effect at that time, I had been assigned to a school that my mother deemed to be unacceptable according to her Jamaican standards of education. As a woman born in 1925 on the island paradise of Jamaica, any yardies in the house? There were 2 prominent principles that she lived by. 1, faith in God, and 2, pursuing a good education. She believed, just like Nelson Mandela, that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Armed with these 2 principles, she boldly and respectfully challenged the status quo. For 3 consecutive days, she showed up and waited patiently to speak with the superintendent. She was an army of one, refusing to accept defeat, refusing to sound retreat. After 3 days, this woman of courage and great faith emerged from the school department with a new letter in her hand. This new letter wasn't about bragging rights. or getting her way, but it was a victory for the future of her child's education, my education. And because of her selfless and fierce advocacy, I stand before you today as the superintendent of the very same school district that my mother challenged. As the saints would say, look at God. Won't he do it? As the superintendent of Springfield Public Schools, I lead with these same two guiding principles that propelled my mother into action. An action that inspired her to become the champion of her children's education and ensure that they obtain access to the best educational opportunities possible. Massachusetts Women of Color Coalition, your advocacy for the rights and well-being of women of color throughout the Commonwealth reminds me of my mother's fierce advocacy for her children. Thank you for being a voice for the voiceless, power for the powerless, and strength for the weak. As you celebrate a decade of impact and resilience, please know that your labor, although arduous and challenging at times, is never in vain. Your numerous accomplishments stand as a shining example of the great feats that can be attained when like-minded, resilient, and tenacious women unite under the same vision. Just as you, the members of this coalition, as you use your collective power to challenge the status quo of the structural systems that are designed to oppress, marginalize, and silence women, I vow to join you in your mission by using my position to promote equity and access to a high-quality education for all students within my care. I see it as a moral imperative. I vow to inspire students, parents, families, and educators to believe, not someday, but now, not tomorrow, but today, that together we can raise the standard and transform education into a force that empowers every life it touches. But how? How do we transform education? How do we disrupt the systems that were created intentionally to block and to divide and to reinforce the historical isms that so decorate our landscape today? For generations, we struggled with a curriculum that would just perpetuate the things that would hold our children, especially our black and brown children, hostage. For generations, the English language arts canon in middle school and high school had been treated as untouchable. The classics were handed down as sacred texts, rarely questioned, rarely re-examined, and too often taught without regard for the harm their language and assumptions inflicted. We told ourselves that discomfort built character, that endurance equaled rigor, and that exposure alone was a virtue. But what we failed to ask, what we failed our children by not asking, was at whose expense? When I looked at the books that I had read and felt marginalized by, and I saw these same books were on the reading list in Springfield Public Schools, I recognized them as books that contain language that dehumanizes black and brown children. And this language became normalized. The violence in these books became normalized and palatable. Our children were felt to feel less than when they were sitting in classes that didn't support their identity and did not give them an opportunity to feel as if they belonged. These books framed entire communities through deficit and degradation. They did more than just reflect the past eras of this United States of America, but they reinforced the stereotypes that still drive this country. For too long, some of our children have been asked to sit silently while slurs are read aloud, while their pain is explained away as historical context, while their classmates are invited, sometimes unintentionally, to see them through a lens of others. This is not an academic challenge. This is institutionalized harm. When I recognized this harm, I set out to change it. I set out to remove these texts from our ELA curriculum. This action is not an erasure of history, as I was accused of, but instead it's a declaration of values. I value our students. I value all of our students, and I especially value those who are marginalized and set aside as non-equal learners in the classroom. This decision disrupted a cycle that had quietly divided students for decades. By choosing texts that do not rely on marginalization for meaning, we are breaking cycles that have had a long-standing negative impact on the learners that come to us every day to receive a high-quality education. When we remove these types of books from our shelves, we are saying that Black and brown students do not need to endure linguistic violence to become critical thinkers. We are saying that empathy does not require humiliation. We are saying that rigor can coexist with respect, and that complexity does not demand cruelty. Most powerfully, we are saying that every child deserves to encounter literature as a mirror of possibilities, not a reminder of historical subjugation. It's an uphill battle, and in this fight, be reminded that you are not alone. Massachusetts Women of Color Coalition, you stand on the shoulders of women who came before you. Women like my mother, Lydia James Denall, who dared to believe that change was possible and refused to accept no as the final answer. Celia Blue and the members of the board, your courage, your faith, and your unwavering commitment continue to open doors for generations to come. May you remain bold in your advocacy, steadfast in your purpose, and united in your vision. Together, 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 we will continue to challenge inequity. Together, we will expand opportunity. And together, we will shape a future where every voice is heard, honored, and respected. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your advocacy.
First, I want to say to the superintendent, thank you for that blessing you bestowed upon us. You know, and anyone that knows me, I have to give God all the honor and glory before I say anything, number one. Amen. So when it comes to talk about Congressman McGovern, and when we talk about isms and systemic oppressive systems, this man, I'm not going to age him out or me out. However, he's been talking systemic oppressive systems for over 35, 40 years for marginalized communities and people of color and women of color. You know, and he has made a tremendous impact, not just across this nation, but, you know, I speak for Worcester, you know, and this goes into, you know, Dr. Manica still as well. There was a call to action probably 35, 40 years ago at St. Peter's Church to talk about the things that we're talking about now under the administration today. He talked about it back then, 40 years ago, about marginalized communities, resources that we needed, businesses that needed to be supported financially. You know, and one of those businesses was Hector Reyes' house. And one of those other businesses was Mosaic Cultural Complex. One of those other businesses was Henry Lee Willis Center. I can name so many of these, round businesses that this man has been instrumental in helping. And even when we were attacked, from white supremacy, and he stood and stand. And when you hear someone say you can't be silent. So when it comes to Congressman McGovern, personally, I love this man.
Me
one.
too.
I love this man.
Yes, hallelujah.
I knew his daddy before I knew him. I make that clear all the time. And one of the things that when I think back, even when Maddie comes to the stage and, when we talk about Hector Reyes' house, and I'm going to name, there was Hector Reyes, and it was Butchie, and it was Roberto Sanchez. They were the first Puerto Rican in recovery in the city of Worcester that wanted to make a systemic change in Latino sober housing. And Maddie and Hector interconnected in her professional as a medical doctor to be able to take something so holistically and build the Hector Reyes house. But this all started with Jim McGovern pushing us to talk about why we needed to be the game changers, why we needed to be at those tables. We need to be the decision power people sitting there. So when it comes to Jim McGovern, I think he should be the president of the United States. I just want to welcome someone I dearly love. Please, we all love him. Congressman Jim McGovern. Yeah.
First of all, I love Brenda. I wrote every word she just said. Hey, Dr. Donald, I could listen to you all day. You're extraordinary. And, when you opened up with the song, I thought maybe I should open up with a song. But that would clear this room in a nanosecond. I also want to recognize the others who are being honored today. I want to send my love and praise to Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren, who are wonderful, wonderful leaders and partners. And Maddie, you have done so much for this city and for this state, and you have been a teacher to so many of us here. And we just want to say thank you, and we want to say how much we love you. And I am just so honored to be with all of you here today. I want to start off by thanking Celia and MAWOCC for all of the incredible work that you do in our communities all throughout the state. I was proud to also, on the House side, fight for the funding which launched the Intergenerational Leadership Academy. And I am continuously amazed by all of the work that MAWOCC has done over these past 11 years. By increasing high school girls' access to science and technology, engineering, arts and math, or STEAM, MAWOCC is training the generation of doctors and teachers and business owners and more. And it has been a pleasure to witness the success of this program and to see, the now third cohort graduate. By providing leadership and mentorship and workforce development to women and girls of color, MAWOCC helps amplify new voices all across different fields. And MAWOCC is doing more important work now than ever. Look, it makes me hopeful to see the joy, the creativity, and the resilience on display here today. I walk into this room and I'm just so happy to be out of Washington and be in a place with so many troublemakers and truth tellers. And we need you now more than ever. Because you're helping foster a community and a country that is more respectful and inclusive to all. And you're helping make the world a place where equality and equity are the norm, not just words on a page. And right now, that is a radical thing. Our country is more divided and polarized than ever, and it's becoming increasingly popular to act like a person's gender and race don't impact how they experience the world. But they do. Our different identities allow us to bring a diversity of thought to the table, and this is one of the best parts of our country. And despite what the Trump administration might try to tell us, our country is made better by a diversity of opinions and experiences. It is no secret that we are living through a scary time. The people who run Congress are ripping away access to health care. The Supreme Court is taking away our rights at every opportunity. And ICE is terrorizing our communities and now killing, they're executing people in the streets. They are targeting not just immigrants, they are targeting especially communities of color. And it is disgusting. MAWOCC is leading the charge to make it easier for people to vote and to participate in our democracy. The opposite is happening in Washington, and we have to be ready for a fight. We're living through a dark chapter in American history, but seeing people take up this fight without hesitation gives me hope. Seeing the people of Minneapolis stand up for their neighbors and push back against tyranny gives me hope. We need to make good trouble, as my former colleague John Lewis used to say. And that means that people, like all of us here in this room, need to not just, talk about the things that we want to fight for, but at this time, we have to be equally diligent in fighting against policies that are moving us backwards. So we have to protest, we have to dissent, we have to march, we have to fight like hell against turning the clock back. And seeing MAWOCC continue to provide educational opportunities to women and girls of color gives me hope, and it gives me strength to keep up my end of the bargain, to keep fighting back against this administration and my colleagues in Congress who, quite frankly, have no clue about what the greatness of this country is all about, to keep fighting for affordable access to health care, for a hunger-free America. We have 48 million people in the richest country in the world who don't know where the next meal is going to come from. That is disgusting. We need to, and you're hearing the news now, they want to improve ICE. I don't want to improve ICE, I want to abolish ICE. We need to change the leadership in Washington and the leadership anywhere at the local, state, or federal level if they are not doing what we want them to do. So we're at an inflection point. We have to decide if we're going to fight for this country or if we're going to let a dictator run amok. I'm not okay with just sitting back and taking this. And people like me, people who are elected, we have to get out of our comfort zone, and we have to get into this fight. We can't play by the old rules. They threw the rule book out the window. If I'm being honest with all of you here today, I'm also a little scared right now. And I feel a little bit uncertain about the future. But I believe in the promise of this country. I believe in our capacity to be a place where justice and equity prevail. It's because I love this country so much that I want to fight for it. And I know everybody here is here because you love this country, not for what it is, but for what it can be. I mean, that is what brings us all here together. And that's why it's vital what you're doing here today. Diversity is not a bad word, and the more this administration tries to tell us it is, the more we have to push back. So I'm not afraid to say that making our society more inclusive is always a good thing, because it is a good thing. It is a good thing. But I am honored that you have chosen to recognize me with this award, because I have such admiration for MAWOCC and all the people in this room who've been in a lot of fights together, good fights, and I really appreciate your determination. And I just want you to know that we can't make change without people, without people power. And that's why MAWOCC is so incredibly important, educating our future leaders. I'll never stop supporting the work of MAWOCC. I need you, and our community needs you. I am grateful to all of you, and I look forward to continuing to work together. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Award for Dr. Matilda, we call her Maddie Castillo. I'm going to read her bio, and then Brenda's going to give some remarks.
Thank you. Maddie's dedicated her career to advancing health equity, supporting vulnerable communities, and transforming public health systems. Born in Camagüey, Cuba, she immigrated to the United States in 1962 as part of Operation Peter Pan. She was raised and educated in California, earning a Bachelor of Science in Cellular and Molecular Biology from California State University, Northridge, before completing her medical degree at the University of California, San Francisco. Dr. Castillo moved to Massachusetts to complete her residency at UMass Memorial and has served the Worcester community for more than 36 years as a board-certified internal medicine physician. Her clinical and academic roles have included positions at UMass Memorial Medical Center, the Family Health Center of Worcester, and as an associate professor of internal medicine, family medicine, and psychiatry at UMass Medical Chan School. In 2009, Dr. Castillo founded the Latin American Health Alliance, a nonprofit organization committed to addressing homelessness, substance use, and health disparities. She serves as the executive director and medical director until 2015 and continued as medical director through October 2024. Under her leadership, LAHA expanded its program to include the Hector Reyes House, you heard Brenda talk about earlier, 2 transitional residences, one of which bears the name and Cafe Reyes, an innovative workplace development program for individuals in recovery. Dr. Castillo has contributed extensively to civic and nonprofit leadership, serving on the boards of the Health Foundation of Central Mass, Central Las Americas, Abby's House, the Greater Worcester Community, Prince Sigmund Community College, United Way, and the Boys and Girls Club. In September 2015, she was appointed Commissioner of Health and Human Services for the City of Worcester. Over a decade of service, she oversaw public health, youth services, veterans affairs, elder affairs, and homeless services while leading major initiatives in youth violence prevention, opioid response, mental health, reentry support, and the COVID-19 pandemic. Her work has been recognized with numerous honors, including the UMass Medical School Chancellor's Medal for Distinguished Service, the Edward M. Kennedy Community Health Award, the Family Health Center Health Communities Award, the Lift Community Hero Award, the Abby Kelly Foster Award, the Massachusetts Association of Hispanic Lawyers Social Responsibility Award, and the Anna Maria College Presidential Leadership Award. She's been named to Worcester Business Journal's Power 50 twice and has served on several statewide commissions, including Massachusetts Health Policy Commission, the Harm Reduction Commission, the Opioid Recovery and Remediation Fund, and the Health Equity Compact. In 2025, she received the Worcester District Medical Society's President Leadership Award. And on October 30th, 2025, the Worcester City Council issued an official proclamation honoring Dr. Castillo under her retirement, recognizing her 10 years as transformative leadership as the Commissioner of Health and Human Services. She is also a proud MAWOCC member and our sister. Come on up, Maddie.
She's the best. So, you know, they talk about 2009. I'm going to go back before 2009. Not to date everybody, date her out. But, you know, Maddie, when we talk about John Lewis, we talk about good trouble. So all these accolades that you hear that Maddie, she deserved every bit of it. But she was a radical before 2009. That's right. So meaning that those systemic doors, those institutions that you hear that gave her those awards because she earned it. Because she knocked on those doors, she held them accountable for the things that the inequitable of not serving, you know, communities and marginalized communities. And so I want you all to know it was a real path that she took before 2009. She was talking about, you know, homelessness and these empowerment. You hear people know the coded words, well, I'm out in the community, I'm outreach, I'm doing this, I'm serving this. Listen, 2009, she drove me crazy and Marissa Cruz crazy. Okay, and I will just say this. You have to understand the path that this woman has taken. And when I hear the accolades of these institutions that have recognized her, at one point they didn't because of what she did today. So I want people to understand the road that she traveled. So let's give a hand to Dr. Moore.
Yeah, this is not my area of expertise.
We love you, Maddie.
Thank you. So I want to thank MAWOCC, the board, and everyone here for this incredible honor. I am deeply humbled by your thoughtfulness and by your recognition. Today, as I stand before you, I carry with me the faces and the stories of many. My family, my community, and those who made it possible for me to be here. They always do that, but I want to begin by thanking my parents for their courage, their sacrifices, and their unwavering love. When I was only 7 years old and my brother was 8, our parents made the heart-wrenching decision to send us alone to this country, to a place that we did not know, where we did not speak the language, to live in a foster home. They did so out of faith in our nation of opportunity, and faith that their children would one day live without fear, with freedom, and with hope. Recently, I visited the Freedom Tower in Miami Beach. I did this during my retirement. The very building where we first set foot in the United States. That building has come to represent both struggle and possibility. It was there that families like mine received services, were relocated, and given a second chance. Practically everyone who passed through those doors went on to do well. My father, who only had a third-grade education, and my mother, who was a home economics teacher, found work and dignity once they were able to join us. They provided us, and they were able to provide for us. And eventually they put my brother and me through college and higher education. I share this story because it is not just my story. It is the story of so many who come to this country with nothing but courage, determination, and a dream. When we provide support, people do succeed. When we build community, we lift generations. But when we take away that support, we diminish the very promise that this nation was built upon. As Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Community is not a concept. It's a living, breathing network of care, justice, and human connection. We must never forget that we rise by lifting others. This is not the America I came to, but it can be the America we can continue to strive for. I still believe in that community spirit, the one that begins with caring for our most vulnerable, the unhoused, those struggling with addiction, those fleeing trauma, poverty, and oppression. Every person deserves the chance to rebuild, to belong, and to hope. From the time I was old enough to remember, I've been fighting for those values. Values taught to me at home and reinforced through the power of community. Even though I may have left Health and Human Services, the work continues. Today, I ask all of us to remember who we are, a people once bound by shared dreams and a belief in justice for all. We must listen to one another again, and we must see one another again, not as strangers, not as labels, but as human beings. As a Cuban Jew, I have seen the rise in hate and anti-Semitism in ways that have shaken me deeply. I'll never forget when a woman at the YMCA asked, "Are you Jewish?" And when I said yes, she asked, "Aren't you afraid to wear your hide?" That question broke my heart, not only for what it said about fear, but for what it said about where we are as a society. As this is not just about anti-Semitism, We have seen hatred against Muslims, Asians, our Black community, our Latino community, LGBT community, all of it connected by the same root, fear of the other. When do we decide that hate has no home here? And when do we stand together and say injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere? Because make no mistake, when our immigrant communities suffer, when any of our communities suffer, we all suffer. And when we stand together, and when we speak up, and when we fight for all, we build a nation that truly lives up to its promise. So today, as I accept this incredible honor, I accept it not just for myself, but for every person who came through those doors of Freedom Tower, holding on to faith and courage. I accept it for every child like that 7-year-old girl who came to this country, not knowing what her future would hold, but who never stopped believing it could be right. Lead us with compassion, let us fight with courage, and above all, let us remember that our strength as a nation lies not in our differences, but in our unity. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Originally, during this portion of the program, we were going to hear remarks from the governor and then maybe the lieutenant governor, but it looked like they made it, so I want to say that's accurate before I go on the program. All right, so at this time, we're going to move on to our scholarship presentation, and for this portion of the program, I'd like to call up Magda Telemichael and Yvonne Perez, the program coordinators for our Intergenerational Leadership Academy Girls of Color track, to present the award, and also call up Shahina to the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to introduce Shahina Abdurrahman. So this is our fabulous program.
Magda, yay!
I prefer it behind the scenes. Shahina is a senior at Worcester Academy and is currently attending MAWOCC Intergenerational Leadership Academy Girls of Color Track Mentorship Program. Shahina attended the Worcester Public School before transitioning to Worcester Academy, bringing with her a deep commitment to leadership, equity, and community. At Worcester Academy, Shahina serves as a co-chair of the Students' Diversity Committee and is a co-founder and leader of the Muslim Students Association, and holds leadership roles in both the HOSA and culinary clubs. Her leadership reflects not only her intensive initiative, but also her dedication to creating inclusive spaces and uplifting diversified voices. Beyond her leadership, Shahina is a writer and an advocate. Her poem, Earth with a Lens, has been published in a book and she continues to use her voice to inspire dialogue, advocacy, and change within her school and her broader community. Shahina was introduced to the ILA program through her school's Dean of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and she has carried forward the lessons, insights, and confidence gained through the program into every aspect of leadership journey. We are incredibly proud of her growth and impact. And please join me in welcoming Shahina Al-Rahman.
Can I call up all of the Intergenerational Leadership Academy graduates, facilitators to come out with us? Come on out, make your way up. And students, come on up.
Hello everyone. As Makta said, I joined the program my junior year of high school, which was last year. Throughout the program, I developed youth leadership skills, connected with other girls of color with shared experiences, explored STEAM careers, and increased my networking. The group of girls I met during the ILA program I've become so close to, I don't consider them friends, but family. Love you girls.
Aww.
The connections I've built through ILA have opened doors to even more outreach opportunities and have shown me the importance of advocacy and leadership. Before ILA, I struggled to see women like me in industries of high regard. Throughout the program, it gave me what I didn't realize I was missing: representation. Seeing women of color thriving across so many different fields and industries helped me turn my goals and aspirations into something real and achievable. The program didn't just inspire me, it pushed me to believe in myself. ILA has strengthened my integrity as a young leader and prepared me to take part in creating systemic change in our society. Our identities don't just shape who we are, they are a source of power. They give us the strength to grow, to lead, and to pursue our purpose. That is exactly the power the ILA program nurtures and reinforces in young girls throughout our community. I want to sincerely thank Ms. Celia, Makta, Yvonne, and everyone who has contributed to the ILA program in general. You made this experience feel insightful, comforting, empowering. You made it an experience that we could reflect on, have fun during most importantly, and take valuable lessons from. And thank you to everyone who supports MAWOCC. By doing so, you are supporting their mission to eradicate racial inequities among women of color and are uplifting young women like me with confidence, opportunity, and hope for the future. Thank you.
Oh my God. Why aren't you in the picture? Why aren't you in the picture?
It's not on the board. The graduates from the women's and the girls' academies.
Okay, gotcha. Can't hear you. Go to the mic. You gotta see it, you know that, Celia. You see, like, Celia knows me, that's it.
Miss Yvonne came to me and said, Celia, I'm retiring from Worcester Public Schools. Now, this woman was a former principal. She was the chief of diversity, equity, and inclusion of Worcester City Schools.
I love Yvonne.
And she said, I want to spend more time with MAWOCC. Put me to work. I said, I have the perfect role for you as program coordinator for our girls program. And she's been with us now. This is her third cohort. And
all right,
we need people like her to help. Thank you, Vaughn. The governor was supposed to be with us today. As you know, there has been, I want to read the text from her campaign manager. There's been a tragedy in Gloucester with the fisherman, the boat, and so today the family's calling off the search and she wanted to make sure to be there. So this is what happens, right, in terms of the demand for her as our governor, so she couldn't be with us today. However, the lieutenant governor is here in Worcester and is making her way. So we're coming to the end of the program. We've never had this challenge before, but we're going to rise to this challenge. When she comes, we're going to make sure to give her her full attention when she arrives, because we are at the end of our program right now, but we want to honor her for making that visit. So please stay with us. Stand with us so that when she's here, we can welcome her and show her the love that she deserves. All right?
Yeah, right. I'm just getting my voice.
So I will give our brief closing remarks, but if she arrives, we're going to pivot. We know how to pivot. So as we come to the close of our annual meeting, on behalf of the MAWOCC Board of Directors and our President and CEO, thank you. We're grateful to the College of the Holy Cross for hosting us again. Thank you to our photographer, Kofi Poku, Unity Radio, What's Up Worcester, Raquel Knight, for our radio and media coverage. Thank you, Just in Time Production, for providing our entertainment. We're so grateful to our sponsors for this event, Eastern Bank, the Hanover Insurance Group Foundation, the YMCA, Hoffman Electrical Contractors, Senior Connection, Massachusetts Health Council, Worcester State University Foundation, YW Boston, YMCA of Central Massachusetts, Quinsigamond Community College, Elite Events, and Pagano Media. Again, we're grateful to the elected officials and representatives that have taken the time to join us today for their continued support of MAWOCC and our mission, and congratulations to the award recipients today. Today is a reaffirmation about why this organization exists and who it exists for. We showed up today as leaders, as members, as allies, as advocates, as partners, as caretakers, as builders, and as healers. We celebrated our progress, acknowledging our challenges, and issued a call to action for the work that needs to be done. Real change does not happen in isolation. It happens within community. It happens in our relationships and our partnerships. It happens when women of color decide again and again and again that our voices, our lives, and our futures are worth investing in. The conversations we're having today do not end here. The goals that we set do not stay on paper. The vision that we share does not live only in this room. It lives in our daily work, in our advocacy, in our mentoring, in our organizing, and the way that we show up for one another. Today, our President and CEO, the MAWOCC Board of Directors, our staff, our volunteers, members, partners, funders, and supporters, thank you for your continued faith in this mission and investing in this movement. You are the heart of this organization. You are its strength and its future. Together, we are not responding to systems that were never built for us. We are building our own. Thank you for taking this journey with us. This meeting is now adjourned. We took her early.
Bye.
Thank you. Can we get some photos, guys?
Oh, they're getting photos. Okay, they're gonna get photos. Alright, it's a full house, as you can see. Thanks to everyone who came out. Great annual meeting. Our next event is coming up soon. And if you're interested in being a part of MAWOCC, just go onto their website at mawocc.com. You can become a member and all of that, alright? Take it easy, everybody.